Making 8 straight wins for PWHL Toronto as they inch closer towards top spot in the league. Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the PWHL. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Mike Ganter of the Toronto Sun. And Mike, we've talked a lot this season about PWHL Toronto and how they haven't always played a 60-minute game, but their win over Boston the other night might have been their most complete effort of the season.
Yeah, I certainly thought so. I mean, I certainly went into the post game thinking it was, and then I talked to Troy Ryan and maybe one or two of the other ladies, and all three of them, or three of the five or six that I ended up talking to, actually thought that they played probably a better game, but in losses, more complete games. I obviously thought, last night's game. I mean, their first two periods were just perfect. They gave Boston absolutely nothing. Boston came out and had a pushback in the third, but again, they got one goal out of it. I really thought Toronto, like from start to finish, was probably as good as they've been all year. Like I said, I mean, not everybody thought that, but that was certainly my opinion.
Yeah, definitely understandable. You want to make sure that moving forward, you still have things to improve on and work on. But during this 8-game winning streak for Toronto, a lot of the stars have obviously come out to play, whether it be Natalie Spooner or the goaltenders, which have stood tall so far. But who are maybe some of the under the radar players you think that have been a key part of this 8-game win streak?
I think for me, it's not so much the under the radar players that are jumping as players that we really expected from the get go to come out of the gate hard that have really stepped forward. I'm talking about people like Sarah Nurse. I don't think she had quite the start she wanted to in this league, but the last few games, 4 or 5 games, she's been outstanding. She's carrying the puck into the zone, setting up her teammates, scoring goals. She's doing everything that we all thought she would do at the beginning of the year. Emma Malte, another player who, right at the very start, she came on strong, but then there was a bit of a lull, and she's right back, probably even better than she was at the beginning right now. She's using her physical game. She's not a big woman, but she pounds the opposition and she makes them pay. And that physical presence down or in the offensive zone is paying off for this team in big ways. And then I get kind of in my writing, I get kind of fixated on Renata Fast and Jocelyn Rock just because they spend so much time on the ice. But the defense behind that pair, players like Allie Monroe and Callie Flanagan and Olivia Knowles and Lorianne Rougeau, they've really come on, and to the point where there's not the drop off that there was. Like early on in the year, Joss and Renata would go off, and you kind of worried a little bit. I don't think you find that worry anymore. I think they're solid all the way through. So for me, those are sort of the players that have come on of late.
So when you look at the standings, early on in the season, there was a lot of parity and a lot of the teams were all jumbled together, but there seems to be some separation now. You've got Montreal at the top of the league standings with 30 points, and then Toronto and Minnesota at 27. The next closest is Boston at 18. Are you starting to see some separation as far as the talent and the talent among these teams?
Yeah, I think those three have really separated themselves. I mean, Minnesota, especially since Taylor Heisey's come back, she's a big part of what they do. And her coming back to that team, they're right back to where they were at the beginning of the year, I feel. They've had the goaltending from the very beginning, and now Heisey's back. They've added Sophie Jakes, just an outstanding defenseman that they got in the trade. She's bumped their offensive scoring a ton. I mean, so Minnesota's right back where they started. Toronto, as we know, they started poorly but have come on like gangbusters. And Montreal's been sort of the steady one all the way through. They've had a few lulls here and there, but I mean, any team with Marie-Philippe Poulin, I mean, you're going to be a good team. She's just that much of an outstanding player, really. So those three, yeah, they've separated. And then behind that, I mean, like Boston's got a little bit of a lead on New York and Ottawa, but I mean, it's not that much. And so those three, I think you're going to find those three are going to be fighting it out for the fourth playoff spot. And I'm not sure who's going to come out on top in that right now. I mean, they've all got parts of their game that you look at and go, that's going to be the fourth team coming into the playoffs. But they're all quite, they're all pretty good. They're just not as good as those top three teams right now, I would say.
Well, we'll see if Toronto can make it 9 wins in a row on Friday, a massive match against their rivals from Montreal. As
Yeah.
always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For all of Mike's PWHL coverage, head to the Toronto Sun.